get started. Okay, sit yourself onto your lift and come into a good cross-legged position. Let's have a little wriggle about, make sure that you're sitting evenly. So make sure that you feel even at the seat bones. And the feeling of the pose, the feeling of that sensation of evenness right from the start is really important. And so if we start with this intention to find our levelness, then we start with a pratyaharic intention. Pratyahara is the withdrawing of the senses, and maybe that sounds like it's not a positive thing to be withdrawing your senses from the world, but when we practice yoga, we aim to draw our attention inwards. We aim to bring our focus entirely into the physical sensations of the pose, so that all of the other things that are going on, I mean, they're still going to be there after we finish, but we try and just focus our attention on the present moment, on drawing our attention inwards. So feel where you are sitting on the seat bones. Are you rolling onto the back edge of the seat bones, or can you roll forwards onto the front edge? Can you lift the abdomen up towards the diaphragm region? Can you lift the diaphragm region up towards the collarbone, lifting the heart area? Can you draw the shoulders down away from your ears, lengthening the neck into the head? Just look at something in front of you that doesn't move. Keeping your eyes still in the sockets. Softening your jaw and your tongue and your throat. And then bring your hands into Namaste. Lengthen your armpits into your elbows. The elbows away in towards the heels of the hands. The heels of the hands into the fingertips. Take a deep inhalation and then close your eyes with the exhalation. So although your eyes are closed, keep your attention on the inside of the body. Keep your eyes still in the sockets even though your eyes are closed. And focus on the evenness of the in-breath, the evenness of the out-breath. As you inhale evenly into both lungs. As you exhale evenly from both lungs. Breathe in from the bottom of the lungs to the top. Breathe out from the top of the lungs to the bottom. Mentally scan face for areas of tension, especially around the forehead, around the jaw, around the muscles of the cheekbones, around the nose. And just aim to neutralize the muscles of the face. Maintaining your connection with the physical body, the breath, all drawing your attention into the present moment. With an exhalation, draw your chin forward and down to make contact with the chest. Lifting the chest up to meet the chin. Drawing the shoulders down away from your ears, maintaining your position on the front edge of the seat bones. Just spend a moment to seek to generate a genuine, heartfelt sense of gratitude for something or someone or somewhere. Something or someone or somewhere that brings you comfort and positive energy. And then hold on to that positive energy in the heart area as you release the backs of your hands down toward your knees, palms facing upwards. Bring the tip of the index finger with the tip of the thumb. Just a gesture of wisdom, bodily intelligence, mental intelligence, emotional intelligence, and peacefulness that we can carry with us into our practice. And then raise your head, allow your eyes to softly open and the focus to softly come back. Just hold onto your knees, lift up into your chest. Spend a moment just listening to the breath. Listening to the in-breath and the out-breath. And then turn to the right side, drawing the abdomen across, drawing the ribs and the shoulders across. Just observing your physical response to the turn, observing whether there is resistance or freedom or both. Maintaining the position on the front edge of the seat bones. Lifting up into the chest. Using each exhalation to turn a little more deeply. Come back to the center. Just hold on to your knees, lift up into the chest. Take a deep inhalation and then turn to the left. Drawing your abdomen across your ribs and your shoulders. Just finding the front edge of the seat bones. Lifting up into the chest. Using each exhalation to intensify the turn. Monitoring the sensations of the pose from the inside. Acknowledging where there is resistance, where there is freedom, and try not to focus wholly on the resistance. Acknowledge the resistance and then draw your attention into other areas of the physical body that present little or no resistance, so that there is a balance of attention. Come back to the center. Just come off your lift and just sit yourself back on your heels. Have the big toes together, the knees apart, and then come forward into Adho Mukha Virasana. Just stretching your arms forward, aiming to keep the seat bones down on the heels, lengthening into the arms, lengthening into the fingertips, and then bring the forehead down. If you lose contact with the seat bones, then just edge the hands a little closer to the head, and then re-straighten your arms. Draw the tailbone down towards the heels. Just breathe in through the nose and out through the nose, lengthening the sacrum spine down towards the heels, lengthening the tailbone down towards the heels, lengthening at the same time from the hips into the armpits, into the elbows, the wrists, the palms, the finger knuckles, the fingers, the fingertips, the fingernails. Listen to the breath. Just release your hands a second, bring your hands to the sides of the body. Just let the body rest in the child's pose. So this can make the forehead heavy on the floor, and if it's uncomfortable, then consciously lengthen from the shoulders into the fingertips. And then stretch the arms away again, lengthening into Adho Mukha Virasana. Lengthening the tailbone down to the heels, stretching out into the arms. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Just come up onto your knees. Have your hands as wide apart as your mat, stretching the thumbs towards each other. Really feel that the palms are flat in the floor. The finger knuckles are activated. Turn your toes under. Have your feet as wide apart as your mat, and then just keep your knees bent initially, and then work the tailbone up to the ceiling. Work the seat bones up to the ceiling. And then begin to straighten the legs, hitting the fronts of the thighs through to the backs of the thighs. Turning the fronts of the thighs inwards. Pressing the fronts of the knees through to the backs of the knees. Just listening to the breath. Focusing on long, slow, deep, deliberate breaths. And then step your feet forwards, come up into the standing position, and then have some blocks for your hands if you need it. It's good to sometimes start in half Uttanasana and then move into full Uttanasana. So that's what we're going to do this morning. So sometimes we think, oh well, I'm not sure if my back is right for the full Uttanasana. So if you're uncertain, come into half Uttanasana first. So bring your feet as wide apart as the mat. Turning your toes inwards so that the outside edge of your mat and your feet are in line with each other. Tighten the kneecaps. Just bring your hands onto your hips. You can come up with arms extended forwards, but that can be strong in your back. If you come forwards, arms straight like this, it's a good way to do it. You stretch yourself out, bring your hands down, but it can be strong in your back. So I favour these days coming into it with the hands on the hips. So lift up into the chest, elevate the heart area, tighten your kneecaps. Feel that you can see the knees even though your eyes are looking elsewhere. Keep the kneecaps tightened. Keep the thighs activated. Turn the fronts of the thighs inwards. It gives you space in the hips. Lift from the abdomen to the heart area. And then winging the elbows towards each other behind you, keeping your head lifted. Come forwards and hinge forwards into half uttanasana, bringing your hands onto the blocks. Be on fingertips on the blocks. Just everyone go down onto the heels of the hand. That instantly feels quite comfortable, but it's an instant collapsing action in your arms, isn't it? It feels heavy in your hands. But we want this to, and it takes the attention away from the feet. So can you activate the fronts of the legs, lift the shins up, lift the kneecaps up, lift the thighs all the way up into the hip socket, and then turn the fronts of the thighs inwards, and then come up onto the fingertips. And now you can feel the lightness of the arms extending into the chest, into the neck. If you can go down lower, then do. If you've got a bad back, then just stay at the taller height, or just observe what your back is doing for you today. Just observe if your legs are working evenly. Do they feel level? Do they feel evenly activated? Project the chin and the chest forwards. If you want to go further into full uttanasana, keep the chest extending away from the legs. Hook the thumb into the crease of the elbows, wrap your fingers around your elbows, and then allow the top of the body to hang down, keeping the legs activated as you were doing in half uttanasana. If this doesn't look right for you today, then stay on the blocks. Keep the legs activated, keep the thighs turning inwards, keep the seat bones lifting up to the ceiling. Breathe in through the nose and out through the nose, just continually finding deeper stretch. So for me this morning, my lower back is a little stiff, but this for me feels like I can stretch it out. It feels like it needs a stretch out. So you just feel it for your own back. Breathe in through the nose and out through the nose, listening to the breath. And then release your hands down to the floor. Just come back into half uttanasana. If you were in full uttanasana, maybe have your hands on the floor. Maybe you can reach the floor more easily. And then walk your hands towards the end of your mat. Bend your knees if you need to find the end of the mat. Have your hands shoulder width apart this time, and then step the feet hip width apart. And then come back up into dog down. Observe the way that the hands make contact with the floor. Press the palms into the floor. Activate the legs in exactly the same way as you were doing in uttanasana. But because the heels are lifted, maybe it's more difficult to just find that same action of the legs. So observe it, listen to the legs. Just breathe in through the nose and out through the nose, listening to the breath. And then just gently Come down onto your knees. Sit back on your heels, just observe how your body is feeling, how that energy of the body perhaps has come to life. Maybe you feel more energy on one side of the body or one side of the head than the other. So just spend a little time observing and using your breath to distribute that energy evenly. Listening to the breath. Just letting your legs soften into the floor. Just observing how your energy has changed. And then come up onto your knees and then just bring yourself up into a standing position. And then come into Tadasana. So lift up into the chest. Elevate the heart area upwards, drawing your shoulders down away from your ears. Breathe in through the nose and out through the nose, listening to the breath. Just feel that your weight is evenly distributed between the feet. Or is there a fluctuation of your balance? There's bound to be, because if you think about it, we're on a rock that is hurtling through space at thousands of miles an hour, so there is going to be some kind of fluctuation of balance, part of our existence. We have learned to accommodate it. But when we stand in Tadasana, the feet are together, the weight is distributed differently. The center of balance is smaller than when the legs are apart. So just observe how balance comes and goes. Stretch your arms out in front, interlock the fingers, turn your palms all the way out, and then raise your arms over your head into into baddangulyasana. Squeezing the elbows together. Just keeping your attention in the feet, in the legs. Turning the legs inwards. Keeping the kneecaps activated. Hitting the shins back so that your weight is in your heels. Tucking the tailbone in. Drawing the abdomen to the spine. Lifting up into the heart area. Just release your arms, swap the interlock of the fingers. Turn the palms all the way out, stretch your arms away, and then raise your arms over your head. Just listen to the breath. Be inside the pose and observe where the body needs extra attention. And then aim to give it that attention. Sometimes we don't have the precise answer first time, but we can just find the answer for ourselves. And then release your arms. Just come back into Tadasana, lifting up into the heart area. Feeling the energy in the arms. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Bring your arms out nice and wide in towards your chest, and then step or jump your feet nice and wide. Turn your left toes in, the right leg and foot all the way out. And then just feel where your balance goes. When you turn this leg all the way out, maybe everything feels like it shoots down into that foot, and this back leg, it gets forgotten. So consciously hit from the hip into the heel of that back foot, sucking this hip inwards. Lift up into the chest, lifting the abdomen and bringing the chest to face the front. But then turning the legs outwards. So that is a juxtaposition, isn't it? Turning the chest to the front, turning the legs outwards. They're two opposite actions, and they feel like they almost kind of fight against each other. So just feel how you can find that equilibrium of action. Priority being in the turning out of the legs. Priority being in the evenness between the two legs, between the left and the right leg. The action remains evenly active. Can't think of the word then. Stretch out and then reach over. Find the shin. Look up to the top hand. But don't let the pose become right leg centric. Activate that left leg. Sucking in that left hip a little so that the legs become harmonious. Breathe in and out through the nose if you can. Look up if you can. Turn the abdomen up to face the ceiling. Come back to the center. Swap the feet. Turn the right toes in. The left leg and foot all the way out. Again, just turn those thighs from the big toe side to the little toe side, especially of that front leg, but of the back leg as well. Feel that the back leg is evenly part of the pose. Stretch over, find the shin, turn the chest up to face the ceiling. Breathing even, deep inhalations and exhalations. Finding that levelness of action between the legs. Lifting up into the chest, looking up. Observe how the pose clears the sinuses. So from here, we're going to come directly into dog down. But if that doesn't feel right for you, then you come out of the pose as we just did, and then step the feet together, and then come into dog down along the floor. Otherwise, bring that top hand down onto the floor. You might need to bend that left leg to find the floor. Bring the hands either side of the foot, and then step yourself back into Adho Svanasana. Observing how the pose feels different. Maybe you observe that the pose feels full of lightness. Just observe for yourself how the pose feels, keeping the legs activated, the arms activated, the spine activated. Just let your head hang down. And then come down onto your knees, sit back on your heels, and just observe how your body is feeling right now. Sitting back on your heels, just listening to the breath. And then come forwards and stretch forwards back into Adho Virasana. So keep the pose active. If you just let your arms relax on the floor, then it becomes heavy on your head. Pose becomes a little soporific. So activate your arms, and then you can push the seat bones down to the heels with much greater action. So just sometimes it's good to just let go. Just let the arms go, let the arms relax onto the floor. Just observe how that feels. Kind of feels immediately disconnected. And then spread the palms, reactivate the arms, lengthen the tailbone down, and the body suddenly feels full of attention and action. Breathe in through the nose and out through the nose, listening to the breath. And then bring your hands underneath your shoulders and then push yourself up into a seated position. Just spend a moment just to observe the feeling of the pose. Feeling that the poses have evoked from your practice so far. Feeling of lightness on the inside. Okay, my watch has stopped working. Let me just see what time it is. Okay, come down onto your back and into supta baddangulyasana. So just come down onto your back. Just initially, just pull your knees in towards your chest. Just have just a little rock from side to side, top to bottom, just massaging out your spine. And then get hold of the shins and then pull the shins together, pull the feet together, and then let the knees fall apart. Rest your hands on your lower ribs. Just spend a few moments holding your lower ribs and observing your body's natural response to the pose. How the rib cage broadens and lifts for the in-breath. And how it relaxes for the out-breath. Observe how the abdomen rises upwards to accommodate the breath. So soften the abdominal region and allow it to expand with the in-breath, so that the in-breath is non-resistant, so that the body gleans more of the energy of the breath from non-resistant inhalation. As you exhale, observe how the abdomen lowers and relaxes. So just pay attention to the functions of the breath and aim to make the breath free and non-resistant. Acknowledging your abdomen's role in that function. Keep the legs really firmly activated, pushing the heels together. If it's stiff in your hips, then put blocks on the outsides of your thighs if you haven't done. Just aim to take deep inhalations, deep exhalations. Raise your arms to the ceiling, spread your fingers, spread the palms, interlock the fingers right into the webbing of the hands, turn your palms all the way out. Squeeze the outer elbows in and then stretch your arms along the floor. If there is stiffness in your shoulders, then put blocks underneath the hands. Just observe how it has affected the physical body, how it's affected the breath. So does it change the way you inhale? Has it created more resistance? So just draw your attention into the breath and into extending the arms. Aiming to soften into the breath. Raise your arms to the ceiling, swap the interlock of your fingers, turn the palms all the way out, and then lengthen your arms along the floor. And release your arms, just rest your hands again on your lower ribs, just rest in the shoulders. Just breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Bring your knees together, just have your knees together and your feet apart for a moment. And then draw your knees in towards your chest. Just have a little rock from side to side, from top to bottom, just a gentle massage on the spine. And then just roll yourself up into a seated position and then come into cross legs. So hold onto your knees, lift up into the chest, draw in your shoulders down away from your ears. Just spend a moment or two just to observe the balance of the seat bone. Take a deep inhalation in through the nose. And And then with the exhalation, turn to the right side, drawing your abdomen across, your ribs and your shoulders. Just listening to the breath. Come back to the center. Just hold onto your knees. Breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. And then turn to the left. Listening to the breath, listening to the sound of the breath. Using each subsequent exhalation to just deepen the turn a little. Observing if the turn feels different now than it did at the beginning. And then come back to the center. So we're going to finish with restorative pose. We're going to do the restorative surfboard. And again, this is really nice just to stretch out your back. So have a bolster for your body, and then if you've got an extra bolster or a little folded blanket, have that for underneath your shins. And you'll need a block with a blanket over the end. So the priority here is to have the, you've got the bolster underneath the little folded blanket over underneath the shins, and then you come down and your head needs to be free of the end of the bolster. So that kind of really determines, the length of your body, and the length of your bolster just determines where you come on where the bolster comes on your legs or on your pelvic region. Then have the block for your head, and then just let your arms rest onto the floor. So you might need to just adjust a little just to make everything feel really even. And then gently release. Just relax, just let go into the bolster. So this is really nice for the back and really nice for the shoulders and the neck. Just allow the body to relax. Give the body permission to consciously relax. So extension is really good for flexibility. But relaxation is incredibly good for the heart, for the blood pressure, for the frame of mind. It's not always easy to relax. But just start by consciously unhooking the muscles of the arms and the legs. Allow the body to become heavy. Because ironically, out of that heaviness, if you let the muscles completely relax, rather than heaviness, the body fills with lightness, radiating from the bones and into the muscles. Into the organs. into the flesh and the skin. Soften the skin around the skull. Trying to keep your attention in the body and the sensations of the pose as much as you can. And then bring your hands underneath your shoulders, push yourself up into a seated position, just sitting back on your heels. Lifting up into the chest, just observing your energy. And then bring yourself back into cross legs. Cross legs with your hands in the masti, just a final spinal lift. Close your eyes and draw your breath in through your nose down into the abdomen region. Be conscious of the energy you have released through your practice this morning, through the extensions and the twists and the forward bends and the reclining poses. And then draw your chin down to meet your chest. Just spend a moment to seek to acknowledge the positive energy you have created inside. And then send some of that positive energy out into the world. And then gently release the backs of your hands down towards your knees, palms facing upwards. Bring the tip of the index finger in contact with the tip of the thumbs. Just a gesture of wisdom and peacefulness that we can carry with us into our day. And then as you raise your head, allow your eyes to softly open and the focus to softly come back. Thank you very much. Thank you. So hopefully you feel as though you've really lifted your energy. You've given yourself lots of good, positive energy to put into your day. So thank you very much for joining me.